Am I the butthole for leaving in an Uber after what my husband did at the restaurant? Me, 31 female, and my husband, 35 male, have been married for 14 months. He's a middle school teacher. Very close to his family. Loves to help out but can be firm at times. He adores his 1.2-year-old niece. His sister's baby. He always babysits whenever he's got nothing to do. I help with whatever I can. We haven't gotten out for a nice dinner in a while. I asked if we could go out to a new restaurant and try their food. And have good time together. He agreed. I immediately made reservations and took care of everything. Since I couldn't take the day off, I left work early and went to meet him there at the restaurant. I walked in and saw my husband sitting and his niece in a car seat by the table. I asked and he said his sister had work and wanted him to watch his niece. His family were out of town, so there was no one else beside him. I noticed the restaurant staff were giving us looks since it's not a child-friendly restaurant, and I was worried the baby would cry or something. She was asleep then. We ordered our meals. While he was calming his niece down because she was crying out loud, he kept asking the waitress about stuff they don't have for his niece. I couldn't take the looks from people unable to enjoy their meals cause of the noise husband's niece was making. Especially when he started singing, "You're Welcome" from Moana movie while swinging her. I got up to the restroom. Few minutes later, I heard him arguing loudly. I went to see that he was actually trying to change his niece's diaper on the table. The waitress was arguing with him. I was in shock. The manager came after my husband said he'd take a minute to get it done. The manager spoke to me and asked me to leave eventually. I was livid. We left and I blew up outside. Asked my husband why the table while people were eating. That he could have told me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have picked a restaurant that doesn't allow infants. That he embarrassed me. Ruined dinner and got us kicked out. He started arguing with me like I was one of his students after I refused to get in the car. Giving me 0-10 for my reaction and claiming I picked a bad restaurant. Said that he was helping his sister. And I needed to understand that. After the argument, I took an Uber and went home. He went to his sister's place and called saying I shouldn't have left like that and make him feel guilty for wanting to help. But I didn't respond. Edit. I just want to say that my husband is the one who insists on taking his niece. He doesn't consider this babysitting, he just loves to be with her and take care of her. He said he wants us to adopt since it's our only way of having children, medical reasons. He absolutely adores kids, so I understand his bond with his niece. But the restaurant incident was blamed on me. He thinks my reaction was over the top, and honestly, I have no idea why he thinks people should mind their own business when he's behaving like that in a public place. Not the butthole. Who the F changes a baby at a table and not in the restroom when they're in public? Why does he act like his niece is his kid and bring her everywhere, especially when it's clear you're trying to have some time with just you and your husband? He absolutely embarrassed the hell out of you, and furthermore tried to make you feel guilty for picking a nice restaurant when you were under the reasonable assumption you could have a nice dinner. You need to have some serious talks with your husband and your sister-in-law regarding boundaries and childcare, because this is 100% not okay. Edit. I am aware that many men's restrooms still don't possess changing tables. However, you can either take the baby to the car, or change them on the floor of the restroom as other users have suggested, or use the family restroom if one is available. There's zero excuse for changing the baby on the table of a restaurant, and introducing a biohazard where everyone else is eating. You'd be surprised, I saw somebody actually do it at a dining table at a county fair. The owner of the place saw them through the mirrors he had wisely set up and came out screaming, justifiably, and they actually argued with him. And the restrooms of both genders had the changing tables. Holy crap, that's disgusting. And they argued with the owner. That's even worse. Like, go to the bathroom with the kid. Nobody wants to deal with the crap stank while they're eating. I had a friend tell me about a parent changing their baby's diaper at the table while he and his fiancée were eating dinner. I can't even understand how people lack the respect and common decency to do that. I saw someone do that at a restaurant once, and they left the dirty diaper in the empty breadbasket on the table for the server to find. If it makes you feel any better, I'm a waitress, and they would definitely not be allowed to return if I had to deal with this, my policy for anything crap related. Any restaurant manager that wouldn't immediately eject and ban someone doing this on the tables that customers eat deserves to lose their job. I would never eat at a restaurant that let someone get away with that. That's horrible. The depths of customer is always right mentality is awful. I think chain restaurants might be the type that would not support a decision to bounce a family. An independent I think might have more final say. Yes, I would refuse to serve them ever again. How disgusting. I'd chase people out the restaurant to give them their dip cup back before would probably do the same for a dirty diaper. Nasty. That is also disgusting. Nobody wants to watch someone hacking and spitting either. Thank you. The lack of respect is simply astonishing. People are honestly worse than animals sometimes. Way worse. My dog doesn't crap in the house even when he has diarrhea. If it's an absolute emergency, he runs to the neighbor's rooftop, playful face. Your dog crapping on your neighbor's property is not a flex low. This makes me want to ask questions I'd rather not know the answer to. I've seen this happen more than once. It's such a selfish, disgusting way to behave. I used to be a waitress and can completely confirm this is a thing people do. My jaw is officially on the floor. WTF. And the hygiene. Who would want to eat at a table that was just used for changing a diaper? Do you really want to take the chance that tiny bits got spilled or that germs got out? I was at my uncle's house years ago. We are no contact now for some horrible things he has done. My daughter was only a few months old, and when 8 had to change her we were told to go to another room. His stepdaughter had a toddler. When she wanted to change him she moved the food off of the table and just changed him right there. While food was being prepped around her. It was almost ready. It was disgusting. I've seen a lot of people, online, claim that it's acceptable to change a diaper on a table if there is no changing table in the bathrooms. Now, I do understand the frustration of a lot of men's rooms not having a changing table, but it's effing not okay to change a biohazard-filled diaper where people eat no matter what the changing table status is. In that situation, take the baby to the car. For real. I pretty much exclusively changed my oldest child's diaper in the car because he screamed bloody murder in changing rooms. Sure, it's inconvenient, but it's not okay under any circumstances to change a baby on a restaurant table. And for the people that walked to the restaurant and didn't have a car? I've changed my child's diaper in a restaurant exactly once. We were on vacation and had walked to this very family-oriented pizza restaurant. The baby had a leaking diaper so I went to change him, but it was a one-stall bathroom with no changing table and a pedestal sink, so there wasn't even a counter to use. The floor was disgusting with like wet sand on the floor. I asked the wait staff for an alternative or somewhere private and they literally just shrugged their shoulders. Our food had just been sat down and I wasn't going to guarantee a tantrum by making my starving toddler pack up and leave when her food was right there in front of her, so I plopped baby down in the booth next to me in the back corner of the restaurant and did a NASCAR-level diaper change. In my opinion, it was entirely on the restaurant for not accommodating families, even though they advertised as family-friendly and refused to offer a solution when I specifically asked. But yes, if there had been a car or another option I probably would have taken it before changing a baby in a restaurant. Obviously that wasn't the case here, and the husband is definitely the butthole for even taking baby to an adult restaurant, but there are some very limited times when you got to do what you got to do. That was much better than the table, and you are right, why advertise family friendly? Isn't that what changing mats are for? So it doesn't matter if the floor is sand or otherwise inappropriate for changing on. And why at a different table? Did you at least ask that they give the booth thorough wipe down before someone sat at it? I've done similar on the knee changes. One time the change table was in the disabled toilet, which was locked, and the staff didn't know where the key was to open it, not even to mention how bad it would have been if someone actually needed to use the toilet. If you have no choice, a booth is at least where people put their asses. But why the F change the kid on the table? I don't have a car. But the stroller worked too. In Paris, every time I had to change my baby at a restaurant, because the bathrooms are often a closet with a toilet and tiny sink and that's it, I would ask my server where I could do that, in order to not discuss the other patrons, and every time they have nicely led me to either the back, or a closed-off room, or literally anywhere else where people are not eating. It's just a courtesy to not change your baby on the table, or bench, in the middle of where people are eating. Your O was definitely the butthole in this situation. Callous and rude. You're not the butthole. 100. This. Even if there isn't a changing table, you can ask if there's somewhere private. My husband is the primary caregiver and most men's rooms down here don't have changing tables. When there wasn't a family restroom, he would ask and management would be happy to accommodate. There's absolutely no reason to change a baby at the table. Changing the diaper at the table is disgusting, but that's not the real issue. This was their first date night in months, and instead of telling his sister they had plans, he brought a baby. This guy is never going to put original poster first. Alternatively, he could have called original poster and said he was sorry but there was an emergency and he's got the kid, so the reservation could be cancelled and they could go elsewhere or get delivery or something. There was just no excuse for this, and you're right, it's clear he's not putting original poster first, or even thinking about her at all, otherwise he would at least have tried to find a compromise, as opposed to giving his sister a flat-out no even if it was a real and bad emergency. I say tell the sister about that. I would not be happy about my kid being changed at the table like that. Not the butthole. In a panoramic no less. That table must have been nasty. And as a previous server, some people definitely get mad when you bring toddlers or infants in a fancy restaurant. Not the butthole, and tell your husband he needs to learn a bit more about how to properly take care of a baby if he's whipping out the diaper bag on an MF restaurant table. Was that an autocorrect, or are we just calling it that now after so many people have done the same? Or do I spend way too long browsing on our /bone apple tea? With how long we've been in a panorama, people are trying to bring a little levity. I waited tables for years. People tried to change diapers at tables all the time. They would always be offended when asked to please not do that. Bizarre. Not the butthole. Not only that is disgusting to do in a place that serves food, just F the health and safety measures right. But it's also unsafe for the baby. People are wary of exposing their children around strangers because of how many predators can just be walking around. Like, I understand being in a desperate situation, but this man had a lot of options and he chose the dining table in front of so many people. I may get downvoted for this, but I've been in the situation where I was at a restaurant and had no baby changing table options. That being said, I never drop my kid on a table and change them there. Absolutely not. I quietly changed them in their car seat or stroller, turned away so people couldn't see, and never left the dirty diaper for someone else to clean up. Is not the butthole. Clearly, you don't want to hear about the number of dirty diapers I've had to throw away after clearing a table. For the record, not the butthole. Oh, when I was a server it happened to me more than once. The kicker is they left the old diaper balled up on the table when they left for me to throw out for them. Not the butthole. He should have told you, so you could have gone somewhere else to eat. Also, changing diapers in the middle of a restaurant is absolutely not acceptable. Original poster replies. First of all, I'm sorry for the late response. And yes. Exactly. That's what bothered me. He could have simply let me know. I did not expect this from him. It's the first time I see him do it. I told him about how others felt while they were eating. And he says he doesn't care and that they should just mind their own business. But this is a public place. He claims that I'm against the idea of him spending time with his niece, but that is not true. The world does not revolve around him. He sounds defensive. Do you want to spend the rest of your life being kicked out of restaurants if you adopt? Think hard about it. This is absolutely unacceptable behavior. Hello, nuclear option. I agree that splitting would be nuclear 100%, but I do think original poster should consider how he acts with a child he cares for in different environments for when they have kids. The fact that he saw nothing wrong with changing the diaper on the table to the point of arguing with staff about it is something that would concern me if I was thinking about having a kid with someone. This can be fixed by Op's husband apologizing and never pulling this crap again. Perhaps a calm conversation where it is explained to him why this was inappropriate might be a good first step. If he's unwilling to listen or can't hear reason, then I'd be concerned. Yikes, it sounds more like he takes issue with you sharing how his choices impact you, and he'd prefer to insist that being in a relationship with him means acknowledging how helpful he is and understanding that his helpfulness is so admirable. Any miscommunication is not to be reflected upon and certainly not his fault. I was struggling to put it into words, but this is exactly it. Being in a relationship with him is about being the less likable person in a Hallmark movie. No, you are not the less likable person in a Hallmark movie, you are a real person. The way you say this makes me think he is big on public displays of wonderfulness. You say he is a teacher. Is he that teacher who loudly stays late, and makes sure any teacher leaving before him knows how much harder he is working, and is over the top friendly with all the students and basically tries to make sure everyone sees him as amazing hero teacher? The problem with this is that it is fake. Who is he really? Does he even know? Thanks for articulating this phenomenon. I'm as annoyed as the next guy is that the concept of clinical narcissism has gotten so internet trendy as to be totally meaningless, but it has created some discussion of this type of person that anyone who knows a member of said type will find very validating. Some people get really into big performances of affection, but it can be much more about the performance than the affection, and they'll prove that by getting really defensive when someone who was negatively affected by the performance tries to explain their position. It can make you feel petty, unkind, and selfish to be in this type of argument to this type of person, but original poster deserved her nice date night, she deserved communication from her partner, and she deserved respect from her partner. And no over-the-top eagerness to show paternal affection will ever counterbalance the buttholeness of picking a fight with a waiter over health regulations in the middle of a effing pandemic. Christ, what a butthole, more frustratingly so because of the "I'm just being nice" veneer he slaps over his crafty mean behavior. Op's husband needs to learn that there are times it's more important to be a better husband than a better brother. Hands down one of the best comments I've read. I'd give you an award if I had one, gold medal. Gently, he's displaying some very inappropriate and unusual views, and he's not afraid to insult and intimidate yourself and others. Is this your first red flag? There are loads of bad things going on in your post and that's just one dinner. Are you recently married? Op says 14 months. Guess the honeymoon phase is over and his true self is coming out. Yeah, there was another poster who pointed that out. I was just wondering if she realized the dynamic. In the first sentence of the post, it says they've been married 14 months. Yes, but I wanted to hear her opinion of how long her relationship seems, and how his behavior has changed. It's really common for abusive people to start changing dramatically once their partner is locked down, and I'm very curious if she perceives that happening. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.